Hey everyone, this is Christine with LeftSideArt. Today I am continuing to follow along in Dina Wakley's Art Journal Freedom book. This book gives a lot of information, a lot of technical information about art subjects and also different page challenges that you can do. I've done a few of these in a prior video. I'll link it down below. The journal that I'm working in is from Dina Wakley, but I also kind of handmade it. All the paper is out of her line, and I went to a back-to-back art retreat with her and Diane Reevely, and basically we tore apart their journals and made other journals, and when I got home I made yet another journal. So same paper, that's why some of my backgrounds are already started because it's just left over from what we did at the workshop. But in any case, I am looking at page 30 of her book, and it's making 2 pages with similar subjects but different white spaces. And you can see a little bit of the book underneath my journal here. And she used hearts and I was using circles, which I was cutting out just a minute ago. And the purplish pink paper that I was using was a previous jelly plate print that I had done. And since this paper is a little bit thicker, it was a cardstock, I am using gel medium to adhere it to my page. Had to keep reapplying it a bit. Probably should have used maybe slightly heavier glue. But in any case, just make sure you coat the back of it pretty well. Some of mine hang off the edges a bit, but that didn't really matter. I'm using different Dina Wakley paints, and this is a really nice black ink pen. I was using a water-based pencil to create some shadows. Just keep adding layers. I am trying to follow along with the example as much as possible, but this is just practice and it's for fun. Okay, the next page challenge that I worked on is found on page 55, and it's creating a dominant focal point with a heavy layered background. The white paper here that I'm sketching on, I think you can buy it in open stock. It's like 10 pages per packet. It's very soft. It's a watercolor paper. It's not very easy to erase, but it is very nice when working with wet media. It just reacts differently. You don't have to gesso it. You can if you want, but I didn't, and I think it turned out pretty well. It doesn't soak through very quickly at all, so you don't have to really worry about putting too much water on it. The burlap, which is on the left side there, that of course is, it's very holey, so you do have to be careful how much wetness you put on there if you don't want it going through to the other side. But even the burlap held up really well. You had to really apply a lot and heavily for it to get soaked through to the other side. So it's just a couple different types of paper to work on. I liked working on it all. It just gives different experiences, and it's worth trying out for sure. While I was working on this layout, I skipped ahead to find what would be the next challenge I would want to do, and I found one on page 85, which is making a page with complementary colors in the background layer. And since she was already coming out kind of purplish, I figured this would be a good opportunity to apply that rule here and I used its complementary color, which is yellow. Throughout these pages, I'm using a lot of Dina Wakley's products. I do throw in some other products that I have on hand here and there, but for the most part, I'm trying to stick to her media. So the scribble sticks and paints and gessos and things like that, just to see how it works on her paper, because obviously it's within the same line. I figured they probably put them together with some rhyme or reason. The scribble stick on the burlap works really nice. It comes out, I think, a bit more vibrant than I had expected. And after you apply water, so I applied a scribble stick and then wet a paintbrush and just kind of go over it a little bit to spread some of that pigment. And the last challenge that I did out of her book was on page 95. It's creating a page that has elements and colors that are unexpected and untraditional. I can say before you see this that I tried. This did not turn out pretty, so I will not be offended if you want to fast forward a little wee bit. It was difficult, I would say, to try to apply this concept. So in her example, she used a green flower with a purple stem, and I tried going along those same lines because I honestly couldn't think of what else to do. And yeah, just be prepared. It's not pretty after this point. Okay, now I am not doing a challenge this time, but I got this book of faces by Jean Davenport, and I wasn't ready to put away my Dina Wakley journal and products, and I know this is probably a faux pas to be using something this big from another artist while also demoing Dina's journal challenges, but it is what it is. I figured we might all need a little bit of recovery after that last layout I did with the blue flowers, so this is what I did. I cut out a face from the Jean Davenport book, and then I just simply glued it down to this piece of, I think it's called canvas, the substrate I'm using here, and I gessoed the front of the face, just clear gesso, because the type of paper that came in this book, it just doesn't seem to be very media friendly. I don't know, maybe I'm just using the wrong media, but I'm also using some of Jane's portrait color crayons, which are basically like oil pastels, and just adding, you know, some color here and there. So the piece of paper came out of a Jane Davenport packet of paper, and I'm just stamping some flowers with some black archival ink, and I'm going to fussy cut these out. I'm just going to continue adding little bits and pieces and touches to this layout, and that's going to be it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed the page challenges and this little extra girl that I did at the end. I'll catch you next time. Thanks.